Nancy Pelosi, the Queen, has just disclosed 2 new stock option trades. And I've already taken action and added one of those stocks to the portfolio. And right now the account is trading at $12.8 thousand. AMD and Micron continue to be the biggest percent gainers in the portfolio. AMD's up 131% right now. Micron is up 173%, but I'm probably up over 200% on that one if you include after hours trading right now. So congrats to anybody that's invested into those 2 stocks. It's been an incredible run. Now I got 3 core subjects to talk about in today's video, all very important things. Number 1 here, I want to talk about what my exit strategy is on these microchip stocks in my portfolio, AMD and Micron. They're up a lot. When is the right time to sell and lock in those gains? And then for number 2, we're going to be covering the 2 new positions that Pelosi has opened up in her portfolio, and then which one of those stocks that I purchased today. And then number 3, we have finally launched the lobbying data set on Altoneer. So me and Landen are going to show you how to use it effectively. By the way, anybody can use that data set for free right now while it's in beta mode. Hey guys, all I can ask is that you give that like button a good old smash it. Smash that thing. And lastly, if you guys want access to the politician data dashboard that I'm using in these videos, or you want access to the community Discord, which I also frequently show in these videos, all you need to do is tap the first link in the description of this video, or just look up altoneer.com to get access. All right, so let's get into this exit strategy stuff. We're going to be talking about my exit strategy regarding AMD and Micron. These are both semiconductor stocks, and I'm up a lot on these, as you know, and we need to come up with a plan. So just to reiterate things here, on AMD, I'm up 131%, and then on Micron, I'm up 173%. Micron right now in after hours trading is up like 15%. Okay, so I've tripled my money on that one as of right now, over tripled. And then AMD, I think, is up like 3 or 4% after hours as well. So I'm up even more on that one. So I'm up big on these ones. What's my plan? Let's get into it. All right, so semi stocks. Clearly, there's been a big run in the semiconductor sector for obvious reasons regarding AI and all of that. And it seems that there's no end in sight. I mean, in my personal accounts, on my AMD position specifically, I'm up over 400%. In these portfolios, I've tripled my money on Micron. I've over doubled my money on AMD. It seems like there's no end in sight, okay? Well, I'm here to tell you right now that there is going to be an end. I don't know if it's going to happen next month, in 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now. All I can tell you is this: there will be an end, and it's going to get ugly, very ugly. That's my personal opinion. Now let me talk about why I believe it's going to be getting ugly. So here's what I'm thinking. As soon as the growth rates for these semi stocks start to decelerate, right now they're accelerating. As soon as they start decelerating, the market is going to flip out, and basically they're going to start selling out, and they're going to try to find the next big growth cycle. It might not even be in the semiconductor space. Whenever these growth rates start to decelerate from their insane growth, I mean, what's the point of investing in these stocks anymore? That's what a lot of people are going to be thinking. So with that being said, I needed to come up with some sort of exit strategy when it comes to both of these stocks. So here's what I came up with. To start things off, I'm going to begin with Micron here. This is one that I'm likely going to sell before AMD, and for a very specific reason. So if we take a look here at Altoneer.com, I want to show you what the recent trading activity on Micron is looking like. We have 4 recent sales, and that's all since May. So that's all within the past month. Some of these are just slightly over a month ago. Gilbert Cisneros is selling. Rokana, if you guys have been watching the channel, Rokana is good. He bought SanDisk at like $46 a share, something like crazy like that. Like this guy's getting into a lot of stocks. He actually got into a lot of semi stocks back in 2022, 2021. This guy's made millions, probably millions at this point, especially in his Micron. He's been selling Micron all of last year, all of this year. And what he's doing is he's selling for profit. He's slowly selling out in little chunks here. And from what I'm noticing right now is was just disclosed like a week and a half ago. His selling has accelerated. Okay. He's sold $45,000 just last month. So that right there is already throwing up some red flags for me. And then, you know, you have Gilbert Cisneros selling, another sale from Rokana this year. Dwight Evans is selling this year. But then on the flip side, you got John Fetterman buying, Josh Gottheimer bought, Tony White is jumping in. And, you know, here's the thing. You have these politicians that are investing. Also, Cleo Fields, the big boy buy here. You have these politicians investing into it while you simultaneously have politicians selling it. Here's what you have to look out for. These politicians, I think, and I haven't looked really at the history of Josh Gottheimer on Micron, Josh Gottheimer, John Fetterman, but I do know this. Rokana bought the stock a long time ago, and he's up a lot on his position, and now he's finally selling it. He was the brains of the operation when it came to buying this stock. I kind of want to follow his lead on this. So he's starting to sell off, but on the flip side of that coin, he still owns the stock. Okay, he still owns a considerable amount of Micron, which makes me not want to sell it just yet. Yes, he is selling a lot of it. Yes, he still owns it. He hasn't disclosed a full sale. So just to sum up what I'm trying to tell you guys here is Rokana still owns the stock. Straight up still owns it, which means it makes me feel comfortable owning the stock just a tad bit longer, but not too long. Here's what I'm going to say. This is my exit plan. I just wrote it right here. So my exit plan is to sell my entire position of Micron Technology stock once it hits $15 per share. So 1,500. Right now, the stock after hours is trading at 1,200. Like I said, it's up 15% pre-market. It's looking really good. Momentum is still there. So with that being said, I only have about $300 per share to climb from here, which isn't really that much when we're talking about Micron. That's not going to be that big of a move. We're talking like we're going to have to move probably another 15% and we'll be there. With a stock like Micron, that could easily happen. That could happen in one day. So we're likely getting very close to me actually selling out of my Micron position. And then after that, in terms of what I would do with the proceeds of that sale, you know, I'd have $1,500 sitting around. So I'd probably, I possibly will add on to the new stock that I recently purchased, or like continue to build out that position, or I will evenly distribute the funds into all of my portfolio. So I'd be buying little small chunks of all of the stocks that I own. So I do want to cover this real quick. Normally, I would not want to dump my entire position in Micron, but considering that I only own one single share of Micron, I have to dump the entire thing. I don't think I can sell fractional shares. And I don't want to do that. It's like a OCD thing. I don't want to deal with that. So I just want to get totally out of there. I don't want fractional shares. Just get rid of the shares. Now, ideally, if I did own several shares, I would probably sell half of my position at $1,500 a share. And then I would hold the rest until around $2,000 a share and then sell the rest of my position. All right, so now let's talk about AMD here. So the strategy for this one is going to be a tad bit different for just a few reasons. So there's some stuff that's going on here with AMD. It's, you know, it's good. It's a good sign, but it's not really helping my case when it comes to selling it. So I have AMD pulled up here on Altoneer. These are the recent trades. Look at this. We got Gilbert Cisneros just coming in, swinging in hot. He's got 2 purchases of AMD, and he made those in May. And then we got Josh Gottheimer also in May and in April and some in March. Wait, not March. That's Gilbert. And he was selling there, so that's kind of interesting. But also we got Gilbert. So Gilbert purchased, Josh Gottheimer purchased in April. We got several purchases in a row here. And then we also have all of those other purchases. Like we've covered those in the other videos. So we have a big string of recent purchases of AMD, even after it's been exploding. How much is he up? 22%. Yeah, so these politicians are continuing to buy. There's not a whole bunch of sell pressure. And even after one of these sales, the politician went ahead and bought the stock, even more of the stock, mind you. He sold 15 here and then invested 50K here just a month later. So he realized that he made a mistake and he wanted to get back into the position. So I wanted to show you this just to tell you that I needed to basically consider this when I was coming up with my exit strategy for AMD. Now, some other things to consider. Again, the microchip industry will see a decline in, this accelerating growth that is happening. At some point, it's going to plateau and it's actually going to start decreasing. When that happens, these stocks are going to get hit hard. You'll see 30, 40% drops within a matter of probably a month or two. There's going to be a massive crash going on with these microchip stocks. I do not want to be a part of that scenario. Now, like I said, I'm going to say it again. I don't know exactly when these microchip stocks are going to finally see that plateau in growth rates or start decreasing in growth. But I can tell you this. I would much rather sell a year before all of that starts happening as kind of a hunch than finally getting to the point where it is starting to decelerate. Like they just released new numbers. It's decelerating. I would much rather sell a year before that happens, because by the time they come out with the numbers, the devastating numbers, the stock is already going to be down that 30, 40%. It's already going to have happened. It's not going to be pretty. You need to get out before a year before it starts decelerating. That's what I think. That's my opinion. Now for AMD, here's my exit plan. Pretty simple stuff. Right now I own 3 shares of AMD, right? So I'm going to sell basically 1 share of AMD once AMD hits 700, if it hits 700. Once the stock hits $900 a share, I'm going to sell another share. And then basically after that, I'm going to hold on to my single share and just feel it out, see what's happening. So that's kind of my plan there as far as my exit plan with AMD. I think this one's got more room to run. You still got politicians investing into this one kind of at an insane rate. I don't know, it's accelerating right now, the investment from politicians right now. So yeah, I think we got some pretty good room to grow as far as stock price goes for AMD. And I think actually if I sell my shares at $700, I would triple my money. And if I sold at $900 a share, I would quadruple my money. So this would be great if the stock can go even higher to those levels. All right, so now we're going to be moving on to subject number 2 of today's video. I'm going to be revealing both of the trades that Pelosi recently made, and then I'm going to reveal which one of those stocks that she placed trades on did I end up purchasing. So here's actually a pretty funny discussion I had with some of the members in our Discord with Landen. So Landen comes in like, yo, people, Pelosi just disclosed 2 new trades. This guy's like, both done today? And Landen says, looks like she bought both of these stocks on May 29th. And, we're talking about this. So me and Landen were kind of just answering some questions from some of the members regarding the trades that Pelosi made. So my initial thoughts when the Pelosi trades came out was, I'm thinking about selling my Micron or Intel, going to look into Intel previous buys from other politicians now, and we'll look into Uber as well. So that's where I'll leave you off. We'll continue the Discord chat here in a little bit. But yeah, that was my thinking process at this point in time. This was yesterday morning at 8 a.m. So after I did some research, I went ahead and made a Reddit post. So if you guys don't have us on Reddit yet, we're Trade with Congress on Reddit. I think we got 130,000 members in here, so you should join. I post a lot of stuff in here. I wrote, another day, another politician trade. Nancy Pelosi has just disclosed 2 call option positions, $5 million on Intel on 5/29 and $1 million on Uber on 5/29. These contracts both had $50 strike prices, and they both expire in March of next year. So that's about 9 months out. And then notably, the Intel position is already up 21% since she opened it for her. That's the actual options contract that I tracked. That was not just Intel stock. So Intel stock is up less than 21%, but options contracts leverage your money, that kind of thing. So that's not a bad way to make over $1 million in less than a month. She's already up $1 million on her Intel. And then on the flip side of that coin, at the time of me researching, Uber was actually down. So she was actually down on that position. So with the information that I gathered, and I'll talk more about my reasoning just here in a second, I only bought one of the stocks. Okay. I didn't buy both. And there's a pretty solid reason as to why I decided not to purchase one of these. So I'm going to reveal the one stock that I purchased right now. And then after that, I'm going to talk about my reasoning as to why I did not choose the other stock. All right. So I went ahead and started a brand new position in Uber. I picked up 2 shares at $71.11 per share. And in total, that cost me $142. Right now, this currently makes up just a little over 1% of my overall portfolio right now. I do plan to increase that overall percentage over time. If the stock keeps going up, though, we might run into some problems because I don't really want to dollar cost average up a whole bunch, just very minimally. I would kind of enjoy the stock going down in the short term just so I could increase my position and dollar cost average down in the short term. But anyway, that's kind of my plan as far as that goes. And it's actually funny because right after I bought the stock, it literally started going up, and then I think Uber stock ended the day up like 6%, maybe 7%, and I think at some point it was up maybe even 8%. Is kind of wild. Nancy Pelosi discloses, stock goes up 8%. So with that being said, and here's the interesting part, I want to continue this Discord discussion we had because, I told everybody that, I'm going to buy Uber, and I bought Uber. And what happened next in the group was I was really happy to see this happen. It made me happy. So I just want to show you guys. So at this point, I'm looking into Uber and I'm looking into Intel. And then this guy comes in and says, hey, I just took an $80 call on Uber expiring November 20th. No clue if it was a good idea. And then, yeah, I said mama's proud. But then later, probably about 20 minutes later, I said, I'm buying Uber. We'll explain later. This is my explanation. I sent the screenshot. After I posted that, Aaron said he's along for the ride. Hunter says he just bought 25 shares of Uber. And this is his contract. He, within less than an hour, already up 24%, up $100 on his call options. Oh, in like 20 minutes, he says. And then I was up 4.6% at some point. And then his call options actually ended up being doubled from there. He's up $200 at this point. And then I think Hunter made $100. Yeah, so it was a great day for the Altoneer Discord community. I mean, we were making money in the morning. Now, fun little fact here: this made history for the politician portfolio, which I started back in May. Uber, I'm pretty sure, is now the first stock that I've added to the portfolio, as in like a new additional stock than what I had previously started with. So this is a brand new position I am starting. I have yet to do that with this portfolio. So kind of excited to now have a new stock for the portfolio. I just thought that was pretty cool. All right, so let's get into it. Why did I choose Uber over Intel? So right off the bat, Intel stock had already moved up quite substantially since she bought the call options. Even right now, and this is before I would have bought Intel, but the stock is up 5% after hours. So that makes it even less compelling to me. I don't know, when did she get in? Was it May 29th? Somewhere around there. The stock's up 14% already. Her call options are probably up even more now than what I'd even said in my Reddit post. And then just to compare Intel to Uber, Uber was down from where she had purchased. Now, in the grand scale of things, and kind of what I preach on this channel here is short-term gains or decreases don't matter that much. So really, this wasn't the strongest reason as to why I did this. What I'm about to tell you is really the main reason. Intel, if you know, they make chips. It's another semi stock, okay? I've got enough of semi stocks. I got semi stocks coming out of my ears right now. So I went ahead and filtered my stocks by percent of account, and Micron here makes up 8%. AMD makes up 12%. So if we add those together, that makes up around 20% of my account is in semiconductor stocks. I do not want to go out here and add another stock to my list of semis. Now, one thing that I did think about was, okay, I could sell the Micron position and then replace that with Intel, But then I thought that would be kind of silly because number one, all these semi stocks are exploding right now, kind of performing the same, not including Nvidia because they've already kind of priced out. They're at 5 trillion market cap. It's not really going to move much. But these smaller semi stocks like Micron and AMD and even Intel are kind of all trading the same kind of volume. So like, what's the point of me selling my Micron position for Intel? First of all, I'm going to have to pay short-term tax gains on Micron. So that's already going to make me lose. So basically, what's the point of me selling this stock and creating a taxable event just to go and put it into a very similar stock? I'm just going to end up losing more money. Like there's no point. There's really no point for me to do that. And so that basically led me to, well, I can either buy Uber or I can buy Intel and just have even more of my portfolio exposed to the semi industry, which I believe is going to turn out very bad when all of their growth rates start to decrease and all of that. So it was just a risk I wasn't willing to take. Now we've talked about why I didn't choose to get into Intel. I want to talk about why I chose to get into Uber. And that is because, well, we're talking about Nancy Pelosi here, okay? She's one of the best political traders of all time. Now, if we look at her past trading history here, it's impeccable, okay? So her stock account was up 240% between 2023 and 2025. So in 2023, she had a 65% return. 2024, a 70% return. 2025, a 20% return. And that still outperformed the S&P that year, by the way. So if you get the compounded return of all of these 3 years, that's 240% return. She over 3x'd her money in 3 years. I mean, who does that? Like who has the capability to do that sort of thing? And unfortunately, it's our politicians. Okay. And Nancy Pelosi isn't even the best one. She's one of the most consistent ones. I would say one of the best ones, or the best probably, is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So definitely give her a check. I own a lot of her stocks in my portfolio. If you watched the last week's video, I talked a lot about Debbie Wasserman and I bought some more of her stocks. Nancy Pelosi is a good one because she's consistent. So consistency also matters because if you're consistently good at getting slightly above average returns, and sometimes she gets way over average. If you're consistent at doing that year by year, your compounded return ends up being very high. Really good stuff from Nancy. I kind of was like, Nancy Pelosi just made some trades today. I have to make a move. There's no way I'm not making a move today. So I made a move on Uber. All right, everyone. Subject number 3 of today's video. So starting right now, me and Landen are going to be giving a deep dive into our new data set for Altoneer, lobbying. Now, we've been working on this one for a while now. Pretty much since the start of this year, we were in talks about adding lobbying to the site. And then really just in the past 2-ish to 3-ish months, Landen has been, really diving into the stats and getting the data and getting that all aggregated and then put on our site, making it look pretty and slapping it up. It's now here and it is live and you can use it. Let's hop on the call. Hey guys, just hopped in the call with Landen here. What's up? Lobbying is here. So Altoneer lobbying lets you accurately predict the stock market. And according to academic research, for every $1 spent on lobbying, there is a return of benefits of up to $220. And that's just the average. So a good question that a lot of people have, very common question actually, is what is lobbying? Okay, we need to cover that. What is that? So Landen, can you tell everybody right now what lobbying is?
Yeah, so lobbying is basically when companies will go to politicians and they'll try to influence regulations, laws, just bills and things coming out of the government. They're trying to change it so that it benefits them. It's going to give them more access to government contracts. It gives them more favorable regulations so that if some kind of tax bill comes out, they're going to try and influence it to where they pay way less in taxes. And ultimately, that will just boost their company, give them way more cash in their pockets to do company stuff.
And we actually had been running numbers and doing a lot of back testing for the past couple months now. And we finally found the perfect like formula. Okay. And here's the formula. What we found out was that if you multiply the quarterly lobby spend by $220, if that result equals 2.5% of that company's market capitalization, then on average, after 3 years, the stock will double. So it'll be up 100%, around 100%, give or take a few percentage points. Something that Altoneer does that's really cool is, and we even have something similar for the politicians feed. We have a thing called golden, like the politicians is called golden trades. For lobbying, it's called golden quarters. As you can see on the screen right now, Landen, there's a golden quarter already here. So these come out pretty frequently. It's not every single one, but every few disclosures are going to have golden quarters. And this is just, we did a lot of back testing. I mean, we tried to back test it. We tried to do this based on revenue. We tried to do this based on lots of other different things, like the increased spend. Like if their spend just shoots up a lot out of nowhere, I mean, what's going to happen over the next year or 2 or 3? And we weren't really finding a whole lot of stuff. But then when we did this test, it just blew us away. And it was, I'm really happy that we found it. We spent a lot of time trying to find what is actually good within this data. And so that is what the golden trades are. And I'm really happy about it. So this kind of just proves right here that Congress is a pay to win game. And we already knew that coming into the development of this new data set. This only like reinforced and confirmed that belief in our minds once we found this. It's true. It's a pay to win game. So we have some really good news for everybody watching this video. A little gift for you guys. Landen, why don't you go ahead and tell them what the gift is and how they can find it?
Yeah, so while the lobbying is in its beta phases, we're still working out some kinks. It's going to be totally free for anybody to use.
Yeah, and how can they find that?
To find it, you just go to our website, altoneer.com. And then up here in the top bar here, the nav bar, you see lobbying, new. Click it. Boom, you're in. You get to see all of the lobbying data that we have, that we've collected.
You don't even have to make an account or anything. Don't give us any information. You just use it for free. So now, before we finish off this video, let's just kind of show them the golden quarters. Let's like click a golden quarter and then yeah, we'll go from there. So like this is the most useful thing that we could find was the golden quarters. So yeah, like I was saying, after around 3 years, on average, all of the golden quarter stocks doubled in value. So basically how that would work is, and how the calculation works is, every time there is a golden quarter, then basically the program would buy that stock. There could be several instances. Can you just look up SAIC and find all of their disclosures? I'm sure a lot of them are gold. So there's 3 golden quarters here for this stock. 4. Every time there's a lot more. Okay, so every time there is a golden quarter for a stock, you buy. Every time you buy more shares every single time. That's basically how the calculation worked when we were back testing it. So basically what I'm telling you guys is the best way to play this strategy is every time a golden quarter comes out for any stock, and it doesn't even matter if it's the same stock as last quarter, if it's golden again, you buy it again. And what I'm thinking right now is, since there's so many over time, there's probably going to be many. This is what I would do, and I haven't started my lobbying portfolio yet, but here's kind of what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I'm probably going to just say, hey, I'm starting right now, and the next 20 stocks, the next 20 individual stocks that come out and have a golden quarter, I'm going to buy those. And then after that point, if that same company releases another quarter, but it is not golden, I'm then going to deduct my overall position in that stock So I'm going to be like slowly. So like, for instance, if Apple comes out with a golden quarter, I'm going to add to that position. And then if they later come out and say like their next quarter is not golden anymore, I am going to basically reduce my position size. And then that would allow for extra cash to be spent on new golden stocks and new golden quarters. I think that's kind of how I do it. So yeah, golden trades is definitely going to be, in both of our opinions, is going to be the best strategy to use. And we've made it very easy. You can see all the golden trades as they come through. There's not a whole lot of manual work you guys have to do in order to locate these trades. And then Landon's going to show you some other useful stuff that you might find useful as you use this. He's going to go through some of the filtering options. So why don't you take it away and show them some of the filtering stuff?
So first of all, we have these top preset filters that we think are some of the ones that would be useful. Increased spend, that's one. That just gives you all the stocks, whether they're golden or not, that have increased their spend or doubled their average spend. So Encore here, it looks like they've more than doubled what they normally spend on average. And then all of these stocks are the same. High spend, so these are companies that are spending, it's 1 million up, basically. So any of these companies are spending more than $1 million on lobbying in one single quarter, might be something you want to look at. So we've made it easy. You can click that. You see all the people that are spending big bucks on lobbying to the government. We got golden, which just allows you to see super easily all of the golden trades. If you don't really care about the other stuff, you can see all the golden trades ordered by how recently they were published. And then this one is small cap. If you just wanted to see small cap stocks, you could go here and see some small cap stocks. You could also do that here, but it's easier to maybe click the big button. And then if you wanted to have a specific percentage, maybe you don't want the 100%, you could always come in here and you can change this is greater than 50%. Maybe you didn't want to see 100%, but you want to see maybe they increased it a significant amount. But yeah, you can do that there. Or you could do less than, or if you wanted between a certain percentage, you could do that there. And then as well, one of the requests that we had a lot, and we'll be migrating these filters over to the politician side too, but one of the requests we had a lot was a date filter. So you could use this filter if you wanted, say you wanted just all the lobbying that's been done in the last month, so you don't go over, you can see all of those. Or there's a date picker. So if you specifically wanted, you wanted some like the lobbying that was done in 2025 or 2024, you can do that. You can do January 1st pretty easily, and then December 31st, hit apply. And this will give you only 2025. You're not going to get 2026 or 2024 or anything. You can do a specific range. So that's something that people are going to find pretty useful. And we'll migrate all of this over to the politician side as well, eventually for our paid users.
Yeah, so all very useful stuff. My favorite is the golden filter. Just makes things a little bit easier. But yeah. One thing I wanted to add actually is golden trades that have a massive increase in spend percent change could potentially be some of the biggest winners. I'm not sure. We might have to back test that, but it makes sense in my mind that those would outperform even just all the other all the golden trades. These ones specifically would potentially be even better. But again, that's something we'd have to run. And then another thing that's cool for you guys is you can do these filters. You could filter stuff down to like something very specific to the point where you have maybe like 2 or 3 pages of quarterly disclosures. And then you could just click them all and then figure out like how those stocks ended up performing since the time of that disclosure. And then you could start developing your own like little strategy within the filtering. And you could say like, okay, so every time that every time a quarter comes out with these specific credentials, it has an X% return on average because I did my own personal research and my own, numbers on it. There's definitely something out there. We will find it. There's other stuff that is good. That's better than the golden trades. It's just a matter of finding it. So if you guys can actually, what would be really helpful, if you guys do find something really interesting within this data, email us. Let us know because we want to know. And there's definitely stuff that's really good inside this data. It's just a matter of filtering it out and finding the good stuff. That's all I got. Landon, you got any last words?
Peace.
Peace out.